Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Elevate Podcast. My name is Drew, and you guys know these guys. Got Donnie, John, and today we got our special guest. I'll have him introduce himself. Our special guest, Inoke. That's my fault. We're missing Nico, and you know it's Nico Inoke.
What's my name, man?
Our special guest, Inoke, is here.
I'm walking now.
Crazy. Don't have our first walkout while I'm introducing him. I'm never gonna let that one down. But this is Inoke. He's joining us for today for our episode. Inoke, I'll give you a little time to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here, man. I liked the episode, so.
What's your favorite episode?
I want to say it was Nico's.
Dang.
I don't really know Nico. I never really talked about him in his life, so it was nice to get to know who he is. So Nico's pretty cool. Yeah. Genevieve's was a eye opener, but yeah, I think Nico's was.
It's my favorite episode too.
I always get Nico's and Uncle Butch's.
I think it's just because nobody knows him.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows Butch, but they don't know
him. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Man, some of the stuff he said, I was like, dang, I didn't know that.
You just know the funny guy. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. No,
Butch is a people's person. You know what I mean. So no one really knows who Butch really is. So.
Yeah, he's a chameleon.
Yeah,
you can literally blend in anywhere. Doesn't matter where he is.
Yeah, so getting to know those guys was pretty interesting.
So upbringing, we'll start there.
Okay.
Where were you born, and then where'd you grow up?
All right, I was born here in the LDS hospital.
Oh, dang.
1990, August 12th. We were the first polys to live in West Jordan, and then we left. We left. My mom's mom got sick in Oakland, so she wanted to spend a little time she had in life over there. So we grew up pretty much our whole life in Oakland. Kind of switched lives. You guys were born in the Frisco.
Bay. Yeah.
Moved here and raised here. I was born here, raised in the Bay. So
That's nice. How old were you when you moved out there?
I was 7.
Okay.
But I used to go there because I'm named after my mom's dad. So my mom's sister used to always take me there. I was their side of the family, so they would come pick me up, take me there for summers, and bring me back. So I was always in Oakland.
I was gonna ask that question because you brought up your name.
Yeah.
So where does your name come from?
Yeah. So my first name is my mom's dad. My middle name is Ryan, and that's my first cousin.
What is your full name since?
Inoke Ryan Tuai.
Okay.
Yeah. So
why did your mom want to name you after her dad?
Because my older brother was named after my dad's dad.
Oh, really?
So she was like, I'm taking this one. I think so the funny thing was my older brother was born and my dad didn't ask any questions. He just went and wrote the name.
Oh, dang.
He just gave it all to his dad.
Yeah.
This is my dad.
Didn't even discuss it or nothing.
My mom just went and was like, oh, all right. So
My
when
turn.
I was born, she was like, oh.
Watch this.
So that's how the names came to be.
Do you take pride? So I've been thinking about this, and I want to ask more guests and all that stuff about it. But do you take pride in your name? Because so random. When I was reading the scriptures, specifically the Book of Mormon, they talk a lot about like names. The people's names mean something, and I was like, dang. And so that's why me and Liz name Zion and Uriah those names.
Yeah.
Because it has meaning behind it. Do you feel like does your names have meaning behind it, or have you built meaning behind your name?
You know, for me, it's kind of confusing because I don't know the meaning behind my name because I had never met my grandfather. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're named after someone, it's because this is who he is. You know, I hear little stories about him, but I don't know him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I was to meet him and get to know who he was, and I think I would have had more pride in my name.
Yeah.
But as of right now, this is my name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try to make the best of who I am. So
Yeah. That's dope.
my son coming up, being to be born, is gonna be named after me. So you know, he can get to know who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see that. So
That's dope. And I think that's dope that you're on here because now he can watch this back when he gets older.
yeah, and I like your episode. That's probably why I wanted to come because
Yeah.
you know, my wife's like, I want to know. I'm like, you know already. Why do you want to know? You know already. Nah, but this is tight though.
No, that's the, like you were saying, Donnie, like that's the cool thing about like what we're striving to do is because a big part of like the thought process behind it is like honoring legacy.
Yeah.
Honoring those that have come before us and leaving a legacy for those that are coming after us.
Yeah.
You know, and like for me, like I grew up everyone always telling me I look like my grandpa. They're like, man, you look like my grandpa or our grandpa and all that stuff. And Grams used to always say that too. One thing Grams used to always tell me, she's like, you look like him, you talk like him, you act like him, but don't be stupid like him. And I was like, dang. But it's funny because I always looked up to him. Like the stories everyone would tell me and things like that. And so for me, I'm like, dang, I wish I had video of him. Because everyone's like, he could ball, he could do this, he could jump out the roof. And I was like, prove it.
That's all we got, huh?
It's all these stories.
He probably jumps higher than you.
No.
And you can't jump high.
No, it's true though. It's true. You do look like your grandfather though. Like identical twins, bro. It's crazy, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just cool that you're doing this because this is part of leaving your legacy, you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
Like they're going to see their pops at this moment and hit your experiences that you've gone through to this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just dope to me.
Yeah, I wish I got to know him though, for real, because
Yeah.
then I would have had a better perspective of what my name really means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or something to live up to.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I just know he played pool and bowled and faikawa and you know, things I don't do.
All of them?
How's it growing up in Oakland?
It was cool, man. I mean, we all hear the bad stuff of Oakland. You know what I mean? But you just gotta survive. You know what I mean? You go to school. You do everything right. You know, growing up in Oakland, you just gotta learn how to move. You move stupid, something stupid gonna happen to you. You know what I mean?
Get stupid prizes.
Right? You do sports. No one's gonna do something to you if you focus on school, sports, and so I feel like I was in a mix of both. You know what I mean? Like doing stupid, but also loving sports. So I think part of me was like, well, going back when I was going to elementary here in Utah, it was easy to me, bro.
Yeah.
I remember, like, even though I was like 5 or 6, I still remember walking home, doing my homework by myself, going to play.
Yeah.
Going to Oakland, bro, I was like, they're over here doing like times tables, and at 5th grade, bro, I was like, I'm gonna just play sports. For real. I think I really shut down, for real. Like, it was pretty bad, bro. Like, I didn't want to go to school. I just wanted to play. And sports was pretty much my life. Like, I love football was number one, but because I couldn't play football in Oakland because everything was on Sunday, I played basketball.
Oh, dang.
And that's how I learned how to play ball. I think I was pretty good. Anyone else says otherwise, leave it in the comments.
Leave in the comments.
Leave in the comments one-on-one.
Hey, I didn't know you balled. I didn't know that was like the main one.
That was all I did growing up.
Oh shoot.
21 for money, you know. All through school, I never went to class.
Really?
Never went to class. I used to get beat
For not going?
for not doing homework. You know, report cards coming out. But there's a lot behind it. You know what I mean? It wasn't just me being stupid, but also like my parents were working 24/7. You know, it's the Bay. It's expensive. You know what I mean? Everybody got to work 2-3 jobs.
Yeah.
Late at night. So you know, doing homework on your own. I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
You think there's a culture change from Utah to Oakland that you saw as a little kid?
Yeah,
That
for sure.
affected it?
You know, here, I remember like being out till like 7, like across, you know, West Jordan at my homie's house, just chilling, riding bikes all over the place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I get to Oakland, my grandma won't even let us off the porch.
Sheesh.
Dang.
Yeah, she was like, "You leave here, you're getting beat." You know what I mean?
Dang.
It was just because it's Oakland. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything could happen,
Yeah.
any moment, any time. So it was. Imagine that change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having hella friends to having no friends.
Like you're almost not allowed to have one.
Yeah, you
You're
couldn't.
stuck at the house.
Even if my homies used to come and kick it on the porch from school,
Yeah.
get off my house. You know?
Sheesh.
My grandma was pretty strict, bro. So,
Yeah.
but
No, I
yeah,
can only imagine how hard that was to
Yeah.
6 years old,
Yeah, especially that young.
riding around free, going to 7 years old. So man, I don't.
Having all that freedom.
Yeah.
And then kind of like that freedom stripped away.
yeah, like in an instant too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then my parents weren't home, so it was just my grandma, and my aunt, who always just been like, you know, stay on the porch, don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to just sit on the. I think our driveway was probably like look like this, and we should just sit there and just try to cross each other over.
Yeah.
All night. What's up? Let's do it again tomorrow. But yeah, bro, we couldn't. Yeah, it was pretty hard, bro. I don't think my parents ever saw that. You know what I mean? Because we were young, but it was pretty hard. So
What do you think the hardest part was for you?
I think just like the whole change up, like having hella friends and you know doing whatever we wanted to do, going out to
Nothing.
nothing,
Yeah.
like complete stop. You know, cut off.
And was that from when you were there, right when you moved there to like graduating? Like you had
Yeah.
that strictness the whole time?
Yeah, I would say so. We couldn't go. I think when we got a little older, we were going like down the street.
Yeah.
So my grandma, all her sisters, they had like a whole block. So
nice.
they had like my grandma was here. Across the street was her sister. Down the street was 2 other sisters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we had cousins everywhere. But at a young age, we couldn't leave until an adult would take us over there. You know, when over here in Utah, we could just dip. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Just go down the
We
street.
just, hey, I'm going to,
Yeah.
all right. But in Oakland, you couldn't do that. So, but it was fun though. I ain't gonna lie, growing up, like we learned a lot. But you learn, like I said, you learn how to move.
Yeah.
You learn how to see things different. You know? So.
Dang. Would you ever like trade that to like have that freedom that you still have in Utah? Like to grow up with that? Would you ever trade it back for what you had in Oakland?
You know, I'm grateful for what I learned growing up in Oakland. I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, I call it street smart. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to do things that you don't learn being here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how to hustle. I'm not saying people here don't know how to hustle, but when you live in a spot where you just have nothing and like going to the store and stealing stuff, you learn how to steal good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You learn how to hide stuff good, but at the same time it's bad too, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So but it's just I don't know. Like even now, like my wife always like, man, you always think about money. Like I used to always just like figure out ways like I need to do this, I need to do that, sell this.
Yeah.
My wife always calls me like the best seller because I could sell anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I used to be on Facebook selling like shoes and shirts and people. She'd be like, "How do you even sell that?" I'm like, "Just put it up." make it seem like it's something that they need. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then someone gonna buy it. So, but you know, those type of skills you don't learn from having everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
What's like a crazy story you had growing up in Oakland? Like something that really impacted you?
man, you know, I think a scary moment for me was when, so I would consider myself pretty, I wouldn't say stupid, right? But I was in like the special ed classes growing up. So like, like I said, I felt like the schooling was more advanced than Utah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I felt like I was so behind. And the more I tried to get closer, they were just pulling further and further away. So I was always in those classes to try to catch up. But at the same time, I used to always fight too. So I got kicked out of my middle school. And I ended up, me and my brother had to go to a school in West Oakland. Like the worst part of Oakland, pretty much, right? So we used to travel from like, imagine like going from, I want to say from like here to Draper to go to school.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So like, cause and then and you're taking a bus.
Yeah,
you know what I
and
mean?
it's freaking bay traffic.
Yeah,
And it's
crazy.
like a city bus, not
Yeah.
like a school bus. Dang. Is
So
this
we-
elementary or middle school?
This is like going into like, I think we were like, I was supposed to be in 9th grade.
Yeah.
So I went there as an 8th grader to see if I can be a 9th grader.
Yeah.
My brother was already in 10th grade.
Okay.
So we were traveling, and you know, because my parents couldn't take us, they were working. So we
Yeah.
always we took the bus. They bought us a pass.
Yeah.
We should just get off and do our own thing. Like we used to get off in downtown and hoop, go to all the Chinese restaurants because it's Chinatown downtown. So we used to
Oh, yeah.
go eat, get our food, go hoop. You know, when the cops pull up, then we just dip. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because cops would take all the, we call it truancy. So if they see kids who are supposed to be in school, they'll take them to a detention center and release them when school's out.
Yeah.
So we used to do that almost every day until this one day we were just walking, and we try to stay around the school in case we run into a cop and we just hop the gate.
Yeah.
Get into the school property.
Yeah. We just see this lowrider pull up, riding slow. Me and my brother's like, hey, this. I think we need to go. You know? We're just walking on the street though. You know what I mean? Like we didn't know what was happening. And I guess there was another car coming the other way, and they just started letting loose on each other. You know what I mean?
Sorry, blast.
So me and my brother dipped down. We were just hiding, hopped up, just dipped out, hopped over the gate. And I think that was the first time I was like, all right, I need to figure out something. You know what I mean? But at the time, I couldn't ball. I didn't have the grades.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I think that right there changed my mindset to like, okay, I need to figure out what I want to do. And I knew I wanted to play football, so got my grades straight. Got put into a regular school so I can ball, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that was my big eye opener, where I didn't want to just be someone from Oakland, but wanted to, you know, use my talents, which was sports, to do something. So.
Damn, that's crazy.
That's crazy. You were so young at that time. Like,
Yeah, bro.
8th grade going into 9th grade.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about it now, I was like, damn, we was over there taking the bus.
Like, that's wild. Right?
Like, crackheads everywhere, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it was just, it's kind of wild to think about it now, though.
That's what my brother always said. He grew up in LA, and he was just saying nobody knew different because that was just everybody's norm.
Yeah.
And when he got up, he was like, dang, there were shootings everywhere. Now we're just walking around like it was nothing.
Yeah. And, I mean, you don't know that until you come to, like, you know, I moved back here.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I love it here. You know what I mean? It's nice, slow.
Yeah.
If it happens, you moved the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You did something wrong. Where
It's not just like a normal thing.
yeah, it's not a normal. It just doesn't just happen. You know what I mean? Where out there it happens, and we're over here riding the bus. Like, so yeah,
That's crazy.
that was an eye opener. Like,
Yeah.
for sure.
Man, I bet. My dad always be talking about that because my dad grew up in the Bay too.
Yeah.
He always be talking about how like he called me and my siblings like, you guys are all soft. Like, you guys don't know how to catch a bus. You guys can't.
Yeah.
You guys don't know where the train is at, man. I was 12 years old catching a bus to school. But then just hearing his stories, like, it's stuff like that. Like, just wild things just happening. Fights breaking out on the train while he's like 12 years old with his older brothers. Like, it's just different.
Yeah.
Stuff you don't like encounter here in Utah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's definitely different. But that's why I moved here. You know, I moved here for this. You know what I mean? Even though I would love my kids to know where I grew up, but I don't want them to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you got into football. What did that like do to your life?
Oh, bro, I love football since I could even think for myself. You
That's
know what
crazy because you couldn't play it, right?
Couldn't play.
Sundays. Damn, that's so wild that you
Couldn't
grew that
play.
love.
Man, I've actually played for Pee Wee Bingham. Pee Wee.
Oh wow.
1 year. I played 1 year before we moved to Oakland.
Dang.
So imagine having that love, being able to
Yeah.
play that
And
1
you
year,
can't play
and then
both.
next year, like, you're not going to play until high school.
Damn.
So it was like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
What about it that you fell in love with?
Bro, I just loved hitting, bro.
Yeah.
Just hitting something, like, just defense. Like, you know what I mean? That end goal of hitting the quarterback or the running back or just getting through somebody, you know what I mean? But, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of pictures of, like, watching my older cousins play. We used to go watch them and I used to have their helmet on just running around the field, you know what I mean? Like, that was my thing. Like, football was my love, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's funny, though. As I grew up, I learned I knew nothing about football.
Really?
I knew nothing. Like, schemes, plays, I knew nothing. I just loved to hit somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just learned that's what I loved. Like, I knew nothing about football. I just loved it to play that physical sport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What position did you play?
I played D-line, so all of D-line. DN, nose tackle, 3 tech. So,
What's your favorite?
I think my favorite was nose.
Yeah.
Once that ball moved, you better get off the, you know what I mean? Like, that was like, you just knew it's you and that guy in front of you. You know what I mean?
Just go.
It's fun, man. I just loved it. When I got off my mission in December of 10, so when I left on my mission, I was like 360. When I came back, I was like 205. And I went to Snow, and I tried out, and they were like, I think you need to play linebacker. I was like, I don't know linebacker. I know D-line.
Yeah.
Like, leave me here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I made I did everything I could to stay in D-line. Because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
So.
Did you have a successful career at Snow?
It's a funny story.
Yeah, let's go.
So the story was this. So we'll just go back to my mission. You know, when I played those 3 years of high school ball, loved it, bro. Like, if I could go straight to college, I would. My dad told a few coaches, like, hey, nah, he's not going to go. He's going to go on a mission.
So you're getting looked at.
Getting a few looks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Where at?
San Jose State, I'd say that's the biggest
dang.
one.
Hey, man.
And then, my dad was like, yeah, he's going to go on a mission. So then, once I learned about that, I was pissed, boy. I was like,
Yeah.
come on, Dad. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But my dad knew the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So, I went on a mission out of, being pissed off and just wanted to get out the house. If I was going to be at home, I'm just going to go to Yate. And,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I went on a mission. I got called to Zimbabwe, Africa, and my MTC was in South Africa, Johannesburg. And when I got in there, the mission president looked and was like, damn, you a big boy. I said, yes, sir.
Oh, the disrespect. Gosh, damn.
You know, he was like, man, you play ball. I bet you play ball. I was like, man, that's what I love to do. And so, mission president, he has an interview with everyone who came in. So when I went in there, he was just like, I know why you're here, and I know what you love. I'm going to share one thing with you. I don't know I forgot who the player was, but it was an NFL player. And he goes, this guy right here should be your number one example. He told his coaches that he doesn't play on Sunday. So the coaches are like, all right, we'll figure it out. And they allowed him to not play on Sunday. Still paid him the amount of money that he got his contract with. He would only play Mondays and Thursdays. And allowed him to play not to play on Sunday. You know what I mean?
Dang.
Imagine that.
That's 3 games out of the season.
Yeah, I was like,
But you in the NFL, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
And they cutting you that kind of.
they paying you that type of money, you better play on Sunday.
yeah.
But to have them, have like I would say a soft in heart to be like, if this is a religion, we'll let you not play on Sunday.
Sheesh.
And he shared that with me. And he goes, I leave that as a blessing for you. If you keep the commandments, you do what's right on your mission, you go home, you keep those same commandments and those same things you learned here on your mission, you will be just like this guy. So I kept that. Did everything I could on my mission. Came home, messed around.
Yeah.
I was home, like I was telling my man right here, I was only home for 2 weeks. And then my cousin came and brought me to Salt Lake to go to Snow. Started acting stupid.
Yeah.
I'm free, not at home no more, doing my own thing. Spring ball come around, and the spring ball, wrist.
Dang.
I was sitting there, I was like, damn, bro, this thing hurt. What happened was I'm taking a double team, 2 guys,
Yeah.
and they end up pancaking me. My arm hit the ground, and they both stacked on each other right here to my wrist. And I heard it just right. So I never broke a bone before, so I'm thinking it's just sprain. So I'm out for like 2-3 weeks, icing it, running a little stem on it.
Yeah.
But it still never did anything. But I never broke a bone, so I never thought of anything being broken. So I played that season, played spring ball, got kicked out of Snow for not going to class, just playing ball and not going to class. Then I met my wife, coming to Salt Lake. And then we went and got x-rayed and realized it was broken. And it was been broken so long that the bone died.
Oh, died.
It died. There's no blood flow in this part of the wrist. So the blood flow goes through the bone. And when the bone breaks, there's no blood flow.
Yeah.
So if I would have got the surgery then, like if I would have just been like, this hurts too much, I'm going to go to the doctor, they would have fixed it, it would have been good. But I didn't. And the first thing that came to mind when I heard it was broken was that promise.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
my bad.
No, you
Are you
good, bro.
good, man?
I know you've seen our episodes. All of us be crying.
It just comes every time I tell this story, bro. It's just because I know I didn't do what I was supposed to. You know what I mean? I was promised a blessing. Because I didn't keep the commandments or did what I was supposed to do when I came back from my mission, God giveth and God taketh away. So I feel like He took it away for a good reason, though. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing what I was supposed to, so He made it right. It's funny to think about it now, but it was heartbroken when I found out I was broken. That there's nothing you can do about it. But I was still blessed to get a scholarship. Went to Illinois, played some ball, tore my ACL.
Yeah.
It just kept going down.
Damn it!
Every time something happened, bro, it was just that promised blessing came again. But some people would take that and take it and just go into depression. You know what I mean? But I took it as like a reminder that nothing's greater than God. I put football above everything. You know what I mean? So
are you, like right now, are you pretty good with God right now?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go back to before my mission. For my mission, like I said, I only went on the mission because I was pissed off with Pops.
Yeah.
But it was a hot summer, bro. I just got my mission call. I think I'll leave in like 2 months. Actually, I didn't get my mission call yet. But it was a summer. It was like 115 in Oakland. And we were just
Was it called the Indian heat wave or something like that?
Yeah, it was a heat wave. It was just called the heat wave. But it was just bad. So, hey, I ain't even gonna take it from you. Indian heat wave.
Nah, we're not taking nothing, man.
It's called something. I swear it's
Call
called
the heat wave, bro.
All I know is that heat wave hit my neck and I was done for it, bro. Nah, so that summer day we went to, my aunt took all the kids, all of us kids, we went to skate rink. It was packed, you know?
Yeah.
And we were just hella cool, chilling, skating around. And I just hear my sister scream my name from across the rink. And I tell her, I'm like, what the hell happened? And I just see my brother laid on his back. So I'm just moving quick, you know what I mean? Slide over there. He just, shaking, foaming at the mouth.
Dang.
And I'm like, what happened? She's like, he just fell. He slipped and hit his head, fell. And, crowds around us. The lady in charge was just staring at us. I'm like, dude, call the ambulance. You gonna do something? I'm over here cussing her out. Like, what the hell you doing? You just standing around. Call the ambulance. And right there, I just remembered, say a prayer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I said my prayer. My prayer went like this. It was, if you save his life, I'll serve you. My parents picked me up from the hospital and they were like, he's straight. We don't know what made him go into I don't know what that's called, bro. When they people start,
seizure?
Yeah, they don't know what made him go into a seizure, foaming at the mouth, but he's good. I think right there, I was like, all right, I'm going on a mission because it's my promise. We keep my promise, you know what I mean? So anything after that, no matter what life throws at me, I just know God hears me, you know what I mean?
That's dope. Because I asked that because, with your experience with football, nobody would blame you if you had so much resentment towards God.
No, yeah.
But here you are. God is good. It was me.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see that. And I cried because I know it's my fault. You know what I mean? God gave me the blessing and I didn't keep up on my side of the promise. You know what I mean? So it's like a little kid. What are you crying for? It's your fault. Shut up.
You chose that though.
What you crying for, dude? But yeah, I have so many experiences with God, man. It's like,
how can
I deny him? You know what I mean? Just like the scriptures, and you got the witnesses who seeing angels and the golden plates and their own witnessing, their own blessings and things like that. You know what I mean? How can you deny that? And these are mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or these are my experiences. These are my miracles. That's like, why would I question him? You know what I mean? So,
I think that reflects a lot on just your character and who you are as a person, though. Because like Don said, there's a lot of people, even me included, sometimes when I'll be going through things, I'll look at it and be like, damn, why me?
Yeah.
Type thing. But just hearing your stories and, how you reacted to it, it's it helps my testimony. Just knowing that there's always room to improve, and it's true. God is always there. Gotta be number one.
For real, bro. No, for real.
Thank you for sharing that.
Appreciate
it. You said you started in Zimbabwe?
Yep.
You just went from culture shock from little kid to
another culture shock.
No, I went from being free to locked up to being free.
Yeah?
Because Zimbabwe, bro, it is free. Nobody's wearing clothes out there.
I think that's just Africa.
But I'm just saying, it was my. I loved it, bro.
Yeah.
The people remind me of Polynesian people.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like I could have just served in the islands, pretty much. You know what I mean? Wherever I went, hey, come eat. Hey, fat guy, come eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always, hey, fat guy, come eat. Like, shoot, you ain't gonna ask me twice. You know what I mean? I'm like,
I'm there.
what you got to eat over there? You know, and I'm a pretty social guy, so I love to meet new people, man.
Yeah.
It was, you know, Africa was an experience, though, man. It was you see the poor and you see the rich, and it's right next door. Like, you know, in America, you see poor and rich, and you're like, you live in a nice house, though.
Yeah.
But over there, it's like a hut and then a brick house.
Dang.
You know what I mean? And they're right next door. It's crazy. But then you go into the hut and they got flat screen TV.
All right, now.
Come on, man.
Priorities are.
It's like those guys living out here in the trailer homes. They got a Tesla parked
Oh
outside.
yeah, bro.
Dang, buddy.
So did you learn a language out there in Zimbabwe?
Nah, I actually. So the way it works is if the scriptures are not in that language, then you won't learn that language. So they've actually tried 3 times to make it into Shona. Shona is the language of Zimbabwe, and it failed all 3 times.
Yeah.
So they prayed about it. It doesn't fit. Like the way it's explained in their language doesn't exactly explain that in English. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the translation would be like off.
It's not exact.
Yeah.
So for now, they're just gonna learn English.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of English classes, and you know, like I said, never went to school, but out there I was teaching English.
Yeah.
Did they have it where like the missionaries had? You guys had like a designated class? For,
Yeah, yeah.
That was us too. Yeah.
teach, yeah.
Every Thursday we would go to
I
chapel.
thought that was funny, bro. I was
I
like,
thought it was hilarious.
I'm over here teaching English. But it was cool, man. You'll see, man. I was so grateful to come home and to have like light,
Yeah.
Running water.
not have to go outside and pump it myself,
Yeah,
run it through 5 filtration
Wow.
systems
exactly.
just to take a sip of water. And those guys outside are just pumping it and drinking it straight. You
Oh
know what
my
I mean?
goodness.
Because there's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to my coworker recently. He went to Kenya.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was saying the same thing. But how were the people? Like with so little, how happy were they?
No shoes, no problem.
That's so dope, bro.
Bruh, they'd be wearing the same clothes every day and they're just the happiest people. And I was like, you know, at one point it was so funny, bro. I was so jealous that they're just running around barefoot on these rocks, bro. I took my shoes off, tried to play with them. No. Throw my shoes back on.
Built like that.
But
they
man,
different.
yeah, I mean, they just barefoot out there, bro. Some of them will have like one slipper on. They're just walking around with one slipper. You know, but they're the happiest people, bro. Yeah. That's why I won't take anything for granted, like, even just like little things. Like, I'm grateful for that. You know what I mean?
Why do you think they are? Like, because you served in Africa, your buddy went to Kenya, you served in Africa as well. Why do you think they're that happy? Like, what has your experience been with them that brings them joy?
I would say there's no greed. There's no greed. There's no need to look good for someone. There's no need to show off or do anything. As long as you got food, you got friends, they're happy.
Dang.
You know what I mean? And it's hard to do that here.
Yeah.
Everyone, you got to work. I'm going to make more than you. I'm going to show you I make more than you.
Yeah.
And that's how it is here. You know what I mean? Out there, I make more than you. Come over here. We going to eat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
They're so focused on like the little things that is so like the camaraderie just amongst them is amazing. I've never experienced stuff like what I experienced in Africa anywhere else.
Anywhere else. I would love to go back for real. It's crazy. I'm telling you, you guys meet. This is crazy. I'll you'll say African American and then Africans. Different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Different, bro.
Complete
the
opposite
difference?
ends.
I
of
know, I was
the
like,
spectrum.
I want to know the difference now.
I would say the difference is this: like African Americans are so focused on their, their ancestors of being slaves, but Africans are just free. Like they're the African Americans that never went into slavery, but also never witnessed an upgrade in life. They're just the same as then and now.
Yeah.
Dang. So what lessons have you learned on your mission that you continue to instill in yourself today? Like you continue to practice?
I would say just being grateful, for real. Not taking anything for granted. I would say that.
How have you been able to like pass that on to like your kids? How old are your kids?
So
That's
I got one
creepy,
that's
bro.
Oh,
5.
yeah, you got your one.
You want to know how old my kids are?
How old are your kids?
Never mind. Never mind. What lessons do you want to pass on to your kids?
So my kids are 5, 2, about to be 3. Well, actually, yeah. So 4, 2, and then
One on the way.
one on the way.
Nice.
I don't know. Me and my wife talk about it a lot. It's both of our responsibilities. But I would say being grateful. We don't want to raise some kid who thinks they're better, or loudmouth, or disrespectful, spoiled. You know what I mean? You're not spoiled, bro. We're broke. So why you acting like that? Yeah, like that. You know what I mean? We don't ever want to have that type of bad kid. You know what I mean? You teach them young so that when they grow up, they understand. And, with me and my wife's work, me and my wife talk about it a lot. We're grateful that they're around these type of kids because they know that not everyone's the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. They experience this type of exposure early so that when they get older, they have that knowledge like, oh, he's autistic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to make fun of him, which I probably would have if I was his age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a regular kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like us being in this business and having him and my daughter around that, I feel like it humbles them because now they know, like, not everyone's the same. You know what I mean? And I got to treat everyone the same.
What business are you in?
We run an agency called Safe Harbor, Individual and Family Care. We specialize in providing care for individuals with disabilities.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so majority of our clients are on the spectrum.
Okay.
They have autism, and they're all nonverbal. So,
what's some lessons you learned with working with these kids?
oh man, patience.
Yeah.
It's patience because, you know what I mean, you don't know what they want.
Yeah.
When you first start off, and then you later on learn what they need and how to move with them and how to treat them, and you know what I mean, because a lot of them, they don't know how to talk, so they don't know how to communicate what they need, so you help them with that. So then some of them have iPads where they'll say, I want to go outside, or I want to drink, I want food, you know, but some of them don't.
Yeah.
So you got to learn how to teach them how to do that, and that's what we do.
Okay.
So
That's dope.
teach them how to communicate, and then teach them how to live in the world.
Well, what's it called again?
Safe Harbor, Individual and Family Care.
Find it on social media too?
No, you won't find us on social media. No, we work hand in hand with the state. So
Okay.
all of our clients come from the state. We don't really do private. So
Okay.
Okay.
So what made you guys get into that?
my wife and I have been doing what Donovan's been doing.
Yeah.
Working with kids with, you know what I mean? First of all, it was with fosters. And then we dealt with kids with, addictions. And so we've done that for like 7 years total. And then I always wanted to run my business. You know, especially, I think once you have kids, you have a different mindset. Whereas before I just wanted to make money. Now I want to make money and have time for my kids. You know what I mean? So like, the only way I thought of doing that is to run my own company. make my own time, where I can have time where I'm working, or I'm working with them, or I'm working, I have time to be with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it led us to like, oh, we have 7 years of experience in this. Let's just start our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's the biggest difference you've seen from moving from like treatment centers to what you're doing now?
see, we never worked with people with disabilities.
Mm.
We thought we were getting into that business
Yeah.
until we realized, oh, we're working with people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Because we did our contract and everything, and we did everything, and then we learned that there's 2 different contracts, and we did the one with individuals with disabilities.
Oh,
So it's kind of an accident.
Yeah, kind of an accident. I think my wife will tell you different, but for me, it was on accident.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we only knew, like I said, we only
Yeah.
worked with people with
the behavioral.
behaviorals, and things like that. So,
Yeah.
And then now we're working with people with disabilities that, in wheelchairs or nonverbal, on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for it, you know what I mean? They're way easier. I'm gonna tell you that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't talk back, but they're regular people. You know what I mean? You learn that they're regular people. You learn,
I just laughed because you said they don't talk back.
hey man,
Don't talk-
you talking about my friends though.
Sorry.
But yeah, man, I love it. I love my job. I love working with these individuals.
I think to be involved in something like that, you gotta have a heart for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if it's not, then you really just look at them as money. Like
Yeah.
you take them in. Oh, it's a client. Well, that's $500 a day. Like, man, you can't look at them like that.
And you know what? It's sad to say, but there's a lot of people that do that.
There is.
And they get penalized so much because they're not doing what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're getting all this money, but then they don't have any paperwork to share for it
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they don't do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The level of care just goes down with like how much they care for
Yeah.
their clients.
Because your responsibility is to help them, regulate being out in the community.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really think for themselves. They can't really speak for themselves. So you try to help them to see how they can transition on being on their own.
Yeah.
And if you're not helping them, they're just going to be stuck in the same state that when you started.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And a lot of individuals that do this are there for the money, so they'll just put them in the house, gather the money, which is sad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not teaching them like any life skills or like how to be able to cope on their own.
Yeah. So we always try to run our company like how we'll do with our family. You know what I mean? I would never want my kids to be treated like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we treat our clients like how we treat our own kids.
I love that.
That's dope.
You said you got into it with your wife.
Yeah.
This business. Let's go back to that. Where did you meet your wife?
Oh, so we met at the YSA through a mutual friend.
Okay.
Like I said, I keep that in snow. So I didn't want to go back to Oakland. So I stayed with my first cousin in Salt Lake. We started going to the YSA, and I think she just got off her mission too. And then met her at an open gym, and then next week I went for a job for working for a company like how you're working for, and with Foster's, and she was there applying for the same job. So we got to know each other through that job. So.
Okay. Did you guys become friends first, or?
Yeah, I think we became really good friends actually, because we did everything as that. It was like 10 of us YSA people, so we did everything as that group. When we dropped the clients off, we always went to the bowling together. We went to the movies, and one by one, everyone just like fell off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think it was like down to like 5 of us, and we decided let's go to the temple. So we went to the temple together on a Saturday morning. And they were like, man, we love that session. Let's try to do one temple every Saturday.
Yeah.
And we started doing that, and then realized it's just me and my wife going to.
Dang.
It's funny because this is how I knew that she was the one. I felt like I was ready to get married. Right. We went to the Bountiful Temple to do a session. I'm in the celestial room, and I pray like I think I'm ready to get married. Like, show me who. And the little voice in my head was like, just stick to her. And it was Janessa sitting right across. And we were just friends, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, I think if you say she's the one, she's the one. Because, she was cool. Yeah. She was my friend. Next thing you know, she asked me, like, hey, what are we? I feel like we're more than friends now. And I was like, I think so. I think we should try this out. But I already knew, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted to know if she knew. And, come to find out, she knew. We got married in like 4 months later.
Oh, wow.
Dang. That's dope.
Like I said.
Let me start going to the temple. Oh, shoot.
You just never know, you know what I mean? She could be right there, you know what I mean? Not just speaking to you, bro. I'm just speaking to myself.
Speaking of me and the only other one in this. Hey, we got this. It's all good.
You guys will do it. You guys will make it.
Just don't go to the temple and pray, and then he says, look across
Just stick with him.
No. You guys stick together. Yeah, but that's how I knew Janessa was the one.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story.
Mm-hmm. So how did you propose?
Hella funny story. So, the day I proposed was the first time she met my family, right? So we went out. I introduced her as, this is my girlfriend. So they got to know her. And then I took her to, what's that lake up here by...
Daybreak?
Daybreak. The Daybreak Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a spiral staircase. And at the top is a little pad of grass. And I had all our friends sit on the spiral. Didn't think it was going to be dark. Right? So I said, when you guys hear us get to the grass, you guys come up, surround us. And I'm going to propose. So I got to the grass and they surrounded us. And she's like looking around. Like, who are all these people? It's hella dark. She's scared. It's hella dark. She's like, hold on. She's like looking around.
Inoke, go back to bed.
I'm over here like, turn your lights on. Everyone turn your lights on. But it turned out good. We proposed and then we took our pictures and then she told me she didn't like it. So.
For real?
She was just like, man, I wish there was light so she could see who was all there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was good. It was good.
Drew was offended for you.
You should have
Ain't no way she said that.
What? She got offended. My boy put work in.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that's how you knew how I moved. When God tells me, to go, I go. My parents didn't even know who she was. And I was already planning a proposal.
Damn.
My parents were like, you sure? I was like, hey, this is the one. You guys can do what you want, but this is who I'm going to get married to.
Mm.
So, that's what I did.
Yeah. What's your favorite qualities about your wife?
Man, I think her spiritual side, bro. I'm up and down.
Yeah.
Because I feel like my mindset gets stuck in like making money and working and, I'm going to go do this client today, or if someone calls off, I got to go work on Sunday. And she'll always be like, call off. You don't have to work today. Just call off. And my mind's like, nah, that's money being left out there.
Mm-hmm.
But she's always bringing me back. Like, hey, if you put God first, everything in our company will go straight. And so I get that reminder. Yeah. So, and the temple, when we were friends, that was all her idea too. So yeah. I always knew, like, I love having friends that will bring me back to the gospel. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No matter how far I fall away or drift off, my wife will always bring me back. I know that for sure.
That's good.
That's dope.
What's something that you never told your wife?
Hey man, these weren't part of the questions, man.
This guy.
Nah, you know what? Like I said before, I think my wife knows everything about me, bro. Through ex-girlfriends and stupid things I've done. I think she asked all those questions. You should have made a Lifetime podcast with her over there. No, but yeah, I think she knows everything about me, bro.
How long were you guys friends before that temple date?
About 2 years.
Wow. 2 years you guys were friends?
Yeah.
Dang.
Actually, a year and a half, and then we got married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
When did you guys have your first kid?
That's interesting. We actually went through I hear a lot of people struggling with having kids, man. A lot of people think that once you get married, they're just gonna come.
Yeah.
Don't happen like that, you know?
Nope.
Sometimes people do. Sometimes people are just like fertile and they just pop.
Yeah.
And it just keeps coming. And there's people that are sitting there looking at them like, damn, I wish that was But not everyone, man. It's not. It's something that you don't take for granted for sure. But I felt like our opportunity came at the right time.
Yeah.
We got married, and so, like I said, I got kicked out of Snow. I got married, and I told my wife after our wedding day, I'm going back to Snow. And she was like, what? I feel like I need to go back and finish. And she was like, okay, that's what you feel like, we're going to do it. So that's what we did. And I think, so we went to Snow. That was our first year, our second year at Snow, third year, Illinois, fourth year, Illinois. And then we moved home after school. And through those 4 years, she was so depressed.
Yeah.
My brother having a kid, they got married after us. Her sister having a kid, you know, and they got married the same year. So it was just depression, you know what I mean? It was a hard time for both of us. But at the same time, if you look at it, there was no way we were going to handle a kid. Both being in college, making minimum wage. And then once we came back and established ourselves in Utah, we had our first. You know what I mean? And, looking at it now, it was God's timing, perfect timing. You know what I mean? We couldn't have taken care of these kids on our own in Illinois. That's for sure. You know what I mean? I'm gone all day with football and school. She would have been home, and she had to work. So it was perfect timing for us. So for 4.5 years, then we had our first.
Okay.
And then 3 years later, we had our second. And 3 years later, we're having our third.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the biggest thing that changed for you when you became a dad?
Man, I think priorities.
Yeah.
You know, when it's just you and your wife, you just have fun. You spend whatever. You know what I mean? You get paid. You go on dates. You go watch movies, and then you have kids, and everything changes. It's all about them. You know what I mean? You always say that you have your first love and then your last love. And I felt like, I'm saying that wrong. Just go ahead and scratch that. But you have that love for your wife, and then that love for your kids is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then just everything changes. Like, everything's all about them now. So, that's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
She just goes sits outside, and I just take care of me and my daughter.
You had a girl first? Boy first?
Boy.
We had a boy first.
Boy first?
Girl second, and the boy third.
Oh, okay. Difference raising a girl and a boy?
Man, my daughter is my twin, man.
Yeah.
Me among everybody, don't trust nobody. Just. But she's my twin. That's my best friend for sure. And then my son is my wife's best friend. So
yeah.
He's definitely her identical twin. They look alike.
Yeah.
Bro, that's what I was telling Ness and them because I stopped by over there in the middle of the day. I didn't have a call then. I was just hanging out with them. I kept looking at him. I was like, bro, you just look like Ness.
Straight up, You got the butt chin, the gap.
And then
don't laugh. That's my wife, bro.
Let's go get this guy.
Then Gwen walks by. Bro, Gwen walks by. She mean mugs hard, bro.
Boy.
I was just sitting
She
there
don't
and she
trust
walked
nobody.
by. She's like, I was like, whoa.
He's like, how you going? She was like, hell yeah, don't trust nobody, girl.
Don't let that look for me. The only time she trusted me is when I gave her a pineapple.
Okay, you might be a nice guy.
Or a watermelon. Because Zion wanted watermelon. He bit it once and he was like, I don't want it anymore. I was like, when you want it? And she's like, grabbed it and walked away. I was like, All right, we're friends now.
I'll accept that. Yeah, she crazy.
Hella cool.
She crazy. But yeah, man, all about my kids. And that's, you know, it was crazy when I used to work. I used to work at a warehouse 9 to 5, sometimes Saturdays, overtime for sure.
Yeah.
And I used to always get those texts with my wife, videos of my son, you know, like playing around, or he's saying, you know, my man, if you know my son, he can talk, boy. And he talk like a grown person. He'll have a conversation about sharks, cars.
Dang.
He'll even tell you off. You know what I mean? But, you know, I get all those videos. You know, he's so smart. And I'm not there to witness any of it. You know what I mean? So that hit hard. Like, I need to be home more. So starting this company was part of that.
Yeah.
So.
My favorite video of Shanae is with my mom.
Hey, that's everyone's favorite video,
that's
bro.
my favorite video ever.
They over here arguing, bro.
Yeah. Like,
for real?
Arguing.
Bro, how old was he?
He was only one.
Yeah.
He's only one arguing?
Arguing,
But
bro.
he was
Dang.
giving it to
Yeah.
my mom, bro. Like, not even backing down. I was like, oh, stop.
Like the finger in the face.
Yeah. That is my favorite video.
Who taught you this?
Yeah.
Nah, he's hella smart though, like you were saying.
Smart, man.
Bro, he's crazy smart. Like, I remember him just growing up. I'm like, bro, how do you know all these words? How do you know, like, even like, not even just saying words, but understanding
How to use it.
Yeah,
Using it in the right
yeah,
context.
exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, I don't even know that word, bro. So
Like, he used to be like, you're so dramatic at like through two years old. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you even know what that means?
Why did you use it right?
Like, and we'd be driving by, he'd be like, look at that excavator. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even know what an excavator was until I graduated college. Like, what are you talking about? But it's no credit to me and my wife, bruh. He was just, that's just his talent, man. You know, God blessed him to be how he's supposed to be. So,
what's one thing you love about each of your children?
man, I think Shannon is just he was born to be number one. You know what I mean? Like my first child. He was born to be that first child. And my daughter, that's gonna be the hitter right there. Like, don't mess, you're gonna get something. You know what I mean? So, you always get that second child that was always, you know, both. Don't listen. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful I have both.
Yeah.
I got a son that cares so much, and then a daughter who will just do anything to protect. You know what I mean? So.
What's one lesson you've learned from your parents that you're trying to pass on to your children?
Man, if you know my parents, man, they're so loving.
Yeah.
Especially for us as their kids. I mean, I could shoot someone tomorrow, and my mom will take my side. And they have video. You know what I mean? She'd be like, "Ain't no way, you guys are lying." You know what I mean? My parents are all about us. You know what I mean? So, like I said, we grew up. We didn't really have them around a lot because they had to work, and there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? They loved us so much. They didn't want us to suffer or feel like we didn't have enough of something.
Yeah.
So they made sure of that. So I saw that as love for me. So, and how I passed that down is being that loving type. You know what I mean? There was no tough love with them, which is pro and a con. You know what I mean? Because we never. I would say I have a couple siblings who don't know how to. Who don't know how to do things on their own because they were so loved. You know what I mean? They didn't. But like I said, my parents were just a loving type. They love you through thick and thin. And then that's what I want to pass to my kid. I want them to know that no matter what they do, I'm always here. You know what I mean?
Got their back.
So.
I love that. That's Liz too.
Yeah.
Yeah, when me and Liz talk about that, and like that's the question. Like all she says, she's like, I just want my kids to know that they're loved no matter what.
No matter what.
And like, grow up, do whatever, like make your choices, do whatever you need to do, become whoever you want to become, but just remember, like your mom and dad love you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. It's like maybe I should. That's my answer too now.
Me too.
Yeah.
No wonder I married you. The same answer.
See, I always thought that.
Man, I got that in my journal. I'm right now. That's funny though, but it's true. It's true. You don't ever want your kids to feel like they're not loved because who they're gonna look to after home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want my kids to look to somewhere else to find that love. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's when things go wrong. You know what I mean? That's when they make the wrong decision because everyone else is looking for themselves.
Yeah.
So, I like that.
No, I second how much your parents like are loving, bro. First time I ever met them, bro, it just feels like home. You know what I mean? Like, they're so dope, bro. And every time I see them, they're always welcoming and loving and caring and asking about the boys and all that. I'm like, dang, dude, this is freaking cool.
It's funny, they follow all the videos and keep up on everybody. Like, hey, how's Zion? Or how's Tunale? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whenever we take the kids, my parents know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even Yesha was their first grandchild, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not even blood related, but that's our grandchild. You know what I mean?
No, see, that's just a testament of, like, your parents and what type of love.
Yeah.
Because at least in my opinion, there is different types of love out there.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And, like, for your parents, in my experience, have always had that type of love, that unconditional love.
Yeah. Not
Not even just for their kids, but for anyone that's in their proximity.
Yeah.
They're so loving and caring, and if you're theirs, you're theirs.
Yeah.
And so, I love that.
And that's what I love about them, too. At the same time, I take that and I add a little bit of hard love.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like that needs to be there, too.
Yeah.
Because you need to learn how to be on your own. You need to learn how to be, I don't know. Because that's how I grew up. You know what I mean? I didn't grow up with parents because they were working all the time. So I learned how to do it on my own.
That independence.
Independence, you know what I mean? Like, so I want that, even though I'm here, now that we run our own company, I'm always there. But I want them to know that, okay, you know, you need to go work. You need to pay something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? They learn how to be more independent when they grow up.
Yeah.
Do you think, I don't know, because this is how I feel. Within a marriage, I feel like, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like a husband and a wife kind of have different roles of how to show the kids love. Like, for me, like, I feel like probably because of my upbringing, I feel like a father needs to have that tough love with the kids. Like, in my head, like, that's how it plays. I was like, I love them, but I need to establish the hard love. Like, I don't want my wife to take that role at all, ever. If someone needs to be a bad guy, I need to be the bad guy, and she needs to be the, like, loving, compassionate one. And so I don't know if you feel the same way or you have similar feelings or whatnot, but...
You ever seen that video? You ever seen that video of it's a couple? Well, I don't even know if it's just a man and a lady on a podcast. And he goes, there's two different, like how you're saying. And then he was like, kids need to suffer. And only men will let them do that. And she was like, kids don't need to suffer. And he's like, you just proved my point. He was like, let's say your kid is hungry. The way you're acting, you're going to give him a snack. You're going to give him a snack, give him another snack. If he comes back, you can give him another snack. And when dinner comes around, he's not hungry. He's going to wait and say, oh, I'm not going to eat this. You give me a snack later. But the husband will be like, nah, it's good to be hungry. You don't need to eat right now. Go sit down. Wait till dinner. When dinner comes around, they eat all their food.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference. Difference is, I feel like the women are just that loving creature.
Yeah.
And the men have to teach you how to, you know, I don't know, kind of like how you said, like, put that foot down and let them know that, okay, this is how things need to be done.
Yeah.
And you don't just get everything if you ask.
Yeah.
There's a certain time when this needs to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's like, because in my head, like, we all know Zion. Zion is freaking loving and kind and polite and all that stuff. But for me, I'm like, and I know Liz doesn't like it, but sometimes I'm like, I don't care how polite you are. Like, no means no.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get this. And then he'll cry or whatever. And I'm like, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, stop.
It needs to happen.
Yeah.
It needs to be.
But in some point, like, Liz feels like I'm being harsh.
Yeah.
And, like, just doing too much in that moment. But in my head, like, I just had that battle. So I wanted to ask you that because I'm like, am I being too harsh? Am I being too tough on him? But then in my head, I'm like, no, because at least for me, this world doesn't give a damn about, like, how men feel.
Yeah.
And I want him to know he's loved, but I also want him to know that, dude, this world, when you get up, like, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
They're not going to care how you feel. So you have to also navigate that as well, son.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. You have a son, you have a daughter, you have kids, so I just wanted to know what you thought as well.
Yeah, I beat them a lot. No.
I don't think that was the question.
My wife would tell you, man, she's like, Inoke don't take nothing. You know what I mean?
No.
Like I was saying in the scriptures, when Nephi and his brothers had to go get the plates, remember, and his mom was crying to Lehi, like, bring my sons back. This is nonsense.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. God said this is what needs to happen. This is what needs to happen. If they need to go and be on their own, let them go be on their own. And the mom just cares about their safety.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's times when they got to go.
Yep.
And I feel like that's the difference of love right there. Even though it shows that she was going against God, but it's not. That's just her nature, her loving nature of a mother.
Love that.
You know what I mean? So it's not going against God's commandments. It's just her love for her kids.
Yeah.
And then Lehi, that's his love for God.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's structure. And that's what I feel like the difference between men and women. And some women have it. Some men have that loving nature too.
Yeah.
But there has to be both.
Yep.
I think that's the important part, is the balance of it.
Yeah.
That's one thing that growing up, like my parents, they did so well, is like they were able to balance each other out.
Yeah.
So even in situations where like my mom felt she was being too harsh, or I don't know, I don't think my dad always just hopped on that thing of like, yeah, that's what you get. But
yeah.
But in that sense of like them balancing each other out, like I always knew that regardless of what happened, like they got my back.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't like
that everything
what the punishment
yeah.
was, like I already knew that they're doing this because they love me and this is the lesson I need to learn.
Yeah.
So I'll always be grateful for that. But I think that's dope. Just passing that on to you guys, kids.
Yeah, for sure.
It's crazy, like to me, hanging out with you guys because you guys are like fathers. You guys have a couple kids already. It's dope seeing. For me with John, just like seeing you be able to be a dad to Zion and Uriah. It's dope being able to see all that. Nico too.
You see the changes in them, huh?
Yeah.
From when they were like single to like.
Oh, I didn't know
parents.
that when they were single.
Oh.
I only heard stories though.
So you got the good part of them.
I got the mellowed out part. They got the relax.
They're all good parts.
I seen the changes.
That's Donovan.
That's me about the changes.
Says they're all good parts. Make sure you guys watch Sal's episode. He was really emphasizing on that.
That's that guy.
Growing up, was your mom that one you knew you could run to if dad was mad? Or
Oh,
were they
yeah.
good at, okay.
But my mom knew when my dad spoke, she would just let him speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nothing bad about it. It was nothing like, but she knew that it needed to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's speaking with a purpose.
Yeah.
Not just
I mean, my mom stepped in a few times when
Yeah.
she felt my dad was going overboard.
Yeah.
But my dad still, you know. My dad knew what he wanted his kids to be, and he made sure of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Even though a lot of us went different ways in life, all of it, like my siblings and I, but we all knew what we were taught.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how it is. There's nothing you can do about it. You teach your kids the right way, they live their life. They choose their own.
It's up to them.
You know, it's their own way of life. They go the way they want to go. But for sure, if you ask them, they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know for sure.
I think that's one crazy thing is like parents is that like raising your kids because this is what I've seen in my own family, like with my own parents, is that they did everything that they could to teach us and guide us to what we're doing. But as adults, like we only have one kid out of the 6 of us that's not an adult right now, and just seeing like the different paths that all of us have taken as adults.
Yeah.
But when we're asked about like our parents and things like that, like we're all like we all know the basics, the foundation that they laid for us.
Yeah.
So I think that's dope that that's what you're doing with your kids. So.
Hell yeah.
This question came to my mind, and it just makes me think about my mom. And if my mom was sitting here, what would I want to share with her? Because obviously she can't be here. And so for me, I wanted to ask you for yourself, for your parents. Like, if your parents were sitting here, obviously they're still alive and all that, but what's some things that you would want to express to them?
Oh, they know. I love my parents, man. My wife used to complain about how much I used to always do things with them. Like, bro, why don't we go kick it? Like, you always want to go hang out with your parents. And, like, that's how grateful I am. Now I'm on my own, have my own money. Like, oh, I want to treat them out. You know what I mean? I want to take them out, treat them. You know, they deserve to relax now. You know what I mean? They did everything for us. And I see that. You know, even though they try to hide it, but I remember the arguments, bills, lights being turned off, not having food. Like, they try to hide it, but I see it, you know what I mean? And not a lot of siblings do, you know what I mean? You probably have siblings that never even, like, what? We didn't have food? You know what I mean? But I remember them fighting over it, you know what I mean? Or my dad buying McDonald's and he didn't get anything for himself, you know what I mean? Because he wanted us to be happy. And so, you know, seeing that, I think my wife understand. If my wife would have, if I could just take her back, she would understand why I act the way I act today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I slide them money here and there. I take them out to eat here and there. Call them every now and then, like, hey, let's go eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're my best friends. You know what I mean? and they really are, man. I mean, if someone was to sacrifice their whole life for you, and then now it's your turn,
Yeah.
how are you gonna move? You know what I mean? I'm gonna be just as grateful. I'm gonna do everything that they did for me. I'm gonna do for them. So that's how. That's what I. They know I love them. They know what I. They know I know what they did for me. So.
No, I love that, bro.
I love that relationship that you got with your parents, because I feel like a lot of times, like, I even find myself doing this sometimes where it's like, I'll just take it for granted, like, the relationship I got with them.
Yeah.
Like, man, I'm their oldest son, like, they already know that I love them.
Yeah.
Like, what have I done to, like, actively show them that, like, yeah, I appreciate all that you've done for me. So I think that's dope that you, like, put in the extra effort.
Yeah.
To be able to show them, making sure that they know.
Like, I like that one saying, like, it's your parents' first time living too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like, they make mistakes too.
Yeah.
Just like that one song that you know, Dongi sang, you know what I mean? Like, how he was talking about what's that song about his dad? By James Blunt? And he was Monster, but how it was talking about, like, we're just two men speaking about, you know what I mean? You did what you did.
Mm-hmm.
I know your wrongs, you know mine. But we're just two men talking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's how I remind, like, that song hit because it's true.
Yeah.
Like, they made mistakes. You make mistakes. But this is their first time living too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't hold it against them.
Yeah.
You just got to know that they're your parents.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Anything else you want to share for the podcast
Nah, man.
or to your loved ones?
Oh, I got a random question. Are we gonna go to the closing questions?
No, go ahead.
Well, this could be part of the closing
Go
question.
ahead, go.
How many pairs of shoes do you have?
I got a lot, man.
I ain't gonna lie, when you said you were gonna sell it, you're selling some, I was like, no.
I saw, man,
You're a sneakerhead.
I have way more, like, when I married my wife, I think we made 2 trips to Ephraim just taking my shoes.
Damn.
But
Because I seen your post, and your post was about, like, different shoes.
oh yeah, and then, like, they was categorized in
Yeah.
different sections. Like, All right, you guys choose so I know who to unfollow.
Yeah. So what kind of shoes do you like? Because I know you got hella shoes, but like...
I just love, like in Oakland, right? So like, I don't know how it is here growing up, but everybody had the new Jordans.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it dropped, the next day everybody wearing them to school. You know what I mean? Everybody wearing them to school, got the new fit, new everything. I never had that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, bro, when I get money, bro, I'm dropping every new drop. I'm gonna have it in my closet, and so I've been doing that. My wife hates it, but I always warn her. I always send her in January, Jordan will drop a list of all the drops throughout the year. So I send that to her. I'm like, just letting you know, on these dates, they gonna be in my closet.
Damn.
And she'd be like, God damn. But sometimes I because you got to be in line for it online now. You don't just go to the store and chill anymore.
Yeah.
You gotta wait online. But all those damn sneakerheads, man, they be online with bots like
Waiting in line
for them. They got all the shoes taken right when they drop.
That reselling.
Like 1 minute, sold out.
Yeah, that reseller business. That's how they do it.
Yeah. So
do you got a hookup or who's your plug?
I just pay the extra money.
Do you?
Yeah.
Sure.
Some of my shoes are like $500 that were sold that dropped for $2.
Dang.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you that because I have like 3 pairs of shoes.
I think that was
One
just.
is like a
I think
slippers.
that was it, bro. I think it was just seeing all my friends in school always come to school with all the new stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you just sitting there with the same. Like, damn, bro, those look nice. But it was nice though. You know who Jordan was.
Yeah.
You know? I liked their shoes. I loved his shoes. You know what I mean? So I always try to cop a few here and there. If I like a pair or 2. Sometimes I wait till like 2 years later and then cop the ones after the price drops.
When
a
it
little bit.
drops.
Damn.
Dang.
Well, that's dope.
What's your most expensive shoe you got?
Like I think the 500.
The 500 ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just copped the ones that I used to love, bro. Like back in the day.
Which ones?
Like those my golden black 11 or my low top ones. My wife got me for my birthday.
Oh, okay.
Like $400. Damn. I was like, you did a good job on this pick.
Closing questions?
Oh, I have one more. Sorry.
Go ahead.
You're from the Bay. You love the Bay, yeah?
Yeah.
You're a Bay boy. Seattle. You're a Seahawk fan.
I'm a Bay Area Seattle Seahawks, baby.
Hold on, yeah.
What?
I didn't even
You're a
realize.
Seahawk fan.
All right, I'm gonna tell you
What's
this,
going
bro.
on?
Like I said,
Die
in the
hard.
beginning, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about football. I never watched it. I barely played the game. I just loved playing it, right?
Yeah.
So my whole life growing up, I was
Hold
like,
on.
damn.
Well, just space. He's a Niners fan. That's
Hey, growing up, I did watch a little bit of Niner game because, like Jerry Rice. And,
yeah.
Well, I mean, also because like you were right there.
Yeah. And so, as I'm sitting there watching, I'm like, these niggas are trash.
So you went to the Seahawks?
These teams are garbage. Right? I ain't never about to put this on my back. Never in my entire life.
Now look at you.
Nah, but I'm going to tell you why, though. My wife probably would be like, don't tell the story.
Tell the story.
Anyways, I have a cousin who was just super dirty, bro. He's a big Niner fan, because that's how the Niners move, right? And then,
What are we doing?
I'm just asking questions. I want to hear the story.
so it was. Hey, you gonna call me a bandwagon after this, bro? But it was the time when they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they took the Niners out. Anyways, before the game, he was wearing his jersey 24/7, bro. And I was like, bro, go take that off, bro. Like, go. And I was like, all right, I'm a Seahawk fan. He's like, no, you're not. Copped all the gear. Boy, jacket, hat, pants, socks, everything, bro. Threw it on.
Out of spite?
Not a spite.
And it stuck.
Not a real fan, guy.
Hey, you can say that, but I'm 10 years riding, boy. How you gonna tell me I'm 10 years in the game, baby?
Raised in Oakland, by the way.
Come on, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, Oakland don't got a team, so I'm free to go.
Not no more. They had a team when you was living there.
I feel your pain, dog. I feel your pain, dog.
This is
Going to
crazy.
the Super Bowl and just not doing it. I feel bad for you too, my boy. I feel you. Hey, I got applications for you, bro. You can be from the Bay and Seahawks fan too, man. But that's my story, man. Oh, hey, thank goodness for my cousin, man. Now I'm a real fan.
It's a crazy story.
I didn't know that, man. As diehard as you were, I was like, oh, this guy's a lifer.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now. My wife will be like, bro, don't even ask him that, bro. Don't even ask him. I don't want to hear that story no more. And that's my story. It's a crazy story, but hey.
One of my favorite stories.
It's a don't make sense story. It don't make sense.
Hey, man. Marshall Lynch is from Oakland, my boy, and he played it.
Yep.
Come
He
on,
reps
dog.
Oakland. That's buddy.
Closing questions.
Closing question.
Sorry, I had to get that one in.
Yeah, I know my wife was waiting for that.
All right, silly question. If you were stuck in this room with one animal and you had to fight it to the death, would you choose a anaconda, a crocodile, or a wolverine?
Boy, Wolverine.
Huh?
I'm murdering that boy.
I think that's the first time I've heard that answer.
Nah, B said Wolverine too.
Oh,
it must be a
shit.
Snow College thing.
There must be people that like to hit thing, man.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I don't have that in me. Maybe that's why I
Hey,
can't
man,
fight the
I'm gonna tell you
Wolverine.
right now, man. Anaconda can wrap you up in 2 seconds, dog, and you are done for it.
I'm gonna kill
As
that
Don
animal.
was-
I'll kill that animal.
what
You're gonna have a head like this, and then the thing's already got your head.
And my thumbs right through his eye.
This guy's crazy. See?
Wait, why Wolverine though? That's the craziest one.
Hey, Wolverines are small, bro.
Wolverines could kill bears.
No, I know. I'm bigger than the bear. Bear ain't got nothing on me, dog. Look at this, bro. I'm a silverback gorilla, my boy.
All right, to wrap it up, we are the Elevated Media. So, what's one thing that helped you elevate in your life?
I would say God. I would say this podcast for me just if anyone's take anything from what I shared today, I hope they take that. God listens to you. You know, whatever you go through, there's always an answer. You know, there's nothing that you go through that you can't come back from. You know, He promises you that He'll give you anything that you can handle. And if you can't handle, He won't hold against you.
Yeah.
So, that's all I hope that everyone can just trust in Him, trust in our Savior. You know, Easter just passed. Look into that. Look into how He sacrificed His life for you. You know, we all go through different trials in lives. Everyone goes here and there, up and down, side to side. But we're all going to end in one spot if we just put Him at the center of our lives.
Love that.
So,
Amen.
Thank
Well, anything else, boys?
No.
Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, we're Elevated Podcast or Elevated Media. Big part of us is we try to elevate through love, laughter, and life stories. So thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe. I think that's the only ones, right?
Share.
Share. Damn.
and go Seahawks.
Peace.
Yeah, we can cut that part out.